Okay guys, so here we are back at the E36. We're going to get the cylinder head off. This is the M44 engine, very similar to the M42 engine. So we're going to start off with, we're going to go and unplug the injector lines up here, unscrew them you might say, and we're going to pull the lower intake. Now this engine's already had, as you guys know, the valve cover is already off, the front timing cover is already off. That's pretty easy. The coil packs are already off and the plug wires are already off. You guys should be able to figure that part out if you're doing this job. The next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go and pull the secondary air pump off. There's two bolts, one there and one there. We're going to lift that out of here, and the reason for that is the mounts for this lower intake. We have to get to the one bolt right there. I don't remember on this one if there's another one in the back or not, but we'll go ahead and get to that. Then the screws on the intake to the head are right there, right there, right there, right there, and right there. We'll go ahead and pull all that off, and with a little bit of luck we'll be able to unplug a few things here and slip these lines through the slot in the intake and lift that off. Now you don't have to take the intake totally off, but we're going to do it for two different reasons. We're going to show you guys in the video how to do it, and it's going to make it a lot easier to put in the timing pin on the back side. Then when we're dropping the cylinder head back in, we're not fighting the intake wanting to slip up against the cylinder head. So once we do that, guys, we're pretty much down to the exhaust manifold, and you got two different options here. You could actually go in here and take it off the head. On the 600 cars, that's what I like to do. This one's set up pretty easy. We're going to take it the collector that has studs and nuts on them. Usually they snap off. Pretty much fully assuming they're going to snap off at this point in time, because that's especially on the E36 the way a lot of them are. So if they do, we'll go ahead and we're going to lift the manifold out with the head, and if they do, we'll take the air hammer, and we have a flat cup on the air hammer, and we'll knock the studs out of the exhaust manifold. And so basically what we're going to try to end up with today is the cylinder head off, and we're going to try to inspect the cylinder head and see if it's cracked or what the situation is, while the head gasket is on its way here. Okay, so after we knocked the camera over a couple times, or at least the wind did, we're to this point. I was going to pull the intake out, but I know for a fact if we bend around these lines, it's going to be a major problem. So you saw me go and take the two bolts out of the wiring harness. I was going to try to flip this up and slip it down and get it up out of the way a little bit. We should be able to get the crank pin in it now. And it's back off the studs, as you can see. So at this point in time, we're probably going to go ahead and undo the timing, and we'll work on the exhaust manifold, and we're getting pretty much about there, guys. Okay, so when I pulled the sprockets off, you saw me take the chain tensioner off first, which is this guy right here, and then the bolt that holds the upper guide on over here, and that should let it slip it out. When you go ahead and pull the exhaust manifold bolts, now we know these head bolts, when I checked them, they were loose. They weren't crazy loose, but it's definitely loose enough to have a gasket issue. This car's had a head gasket done about a year ago, so basically we're going back and fixing what somebody else messed up. So it goes to show you guys, every time you do a head gasket, always go back after some runtime and retorque those head bolts. If you don't, you're going to have this same problem. Okay, run to the car. Here's the collector gaskets. Right there is the bolts are soaking WD-40. I noticed over here that the cover's off of the fuel filter and the perch of the gas tank. Okay, that's fine. Well, going back here a little further, seems to be a catalytic converter missing. You guys who bought this car from watching this video, because I gave you the link, you know you're dirty. Come on now. So that's going to be a problem. I don't have any more converters here on this low budget of a car. I can't weld a test pipe in there. Well, I guess I could if I put the extension on the O2 sensor. It won't throw the check engine light, but that was kind of shitty. They thought it was bad. I'm sure if I asked them about it, they said, oh yeah, it was bad. Probably take it to scrap, but the joke's on them because I know that converter isn't worth nothing at scrap. Less than 30 bucks. In fact, I might call them up and give them a raft of shit about that one. Instead they don't have it there. Okay, so we got the collector gasket out. Sprayed them with WD-40 first. That penetrant WD-40. So I got all the bolts with the impact. There was one I had to use a ratchet on just to break it loose, and I finished it out with the impact and a long extension. And they all came out, didn't twist off. All 4 bolts. They're not too hard to get to. There is a little bar, crossmember bar I took off. It's 2 bolts. I took it down. Collector gasket, it should be alright. It's kind of charred looking, but that's the way they all are. So let's go ahead and get the head bolts pulled out and get this head off of here. Okay guys, so we're going to use this E10. Let me see if it'll focus. You can see it's actually a little star bit. That's the head bolt socket. We're going to use an extension. You don't want to get too long or it's going to be hard to break them loose. Then we're going to use a 1/2" drive ratchet, wherever the adapter is. There it is. We're going to use this. So we're going to use 3/8 extension, the E10 socket on a 3/8 drive, the 3/8 to a 1/2" adapter. We're going to stack it up like this, and we're probably going to use our cheater bar to just break them all loose. Once you broke them loose, we'll go back to the impact, take them all out, take the magnet. Where's it at? I'm going to take this guy right here, and we're going to pull them out with that. Hold on a second. There we go. And we'll get it all taken out and we'll come back. Just want to make one correction to that. It's actually E12, if you can see it or not. And I grabbed the E10 wrongfully. It is the E12. So we're going to go and put you on time lapse. We're going to break them loose and get this head out of here. Well, there she is, boys. I did forget one little minor detail. Been a while since I've done one of these. There is a hose in the back. I just used a 1/4" drive ratchet with the deep well socket. Slipped the head forward a little bit and took it right off, no problem at all. Other than that, it was kind of hard to lift out because that manifold's on there. It was catching on the motor mount bracket in there. I don't like doing it like that, but this head's so damn small. I thought it'd be alright, but it's still awkward like that. So she's off of there. The block surface is good. We already checked it with a straight edge. Everything's good with that. The head gasket itself is a Felpro. See if I can't set that ruler somewhere. It's not going to slide. Head gasket itself is a Felpro. And I wiped it off. I should have showed you guys first. See the carbon in between the cylinders? It was actually blown in between the cylinders. Let's see if the bottom tells any different. And you can see a little bit. It's hard to tell on the camera. And looks like somebody had some silicone on there. That's mighty wide open, wasn't it? Alright, well, So I went and checked the head surface with the ruler when I cleaned it, and you can see it just barely drags in the middle. That's perfectly fine. Went and checked it for cracks, and you can see it's like Ray Charles has been in here doing the pin alignment. You can see how scratched up it is. I thought it was a crack at first, but it's not. So it looks like somebody really fought to get her lined up. And you know, a lot of times these guys on these locating dowels, let me get back to it here. This one's kind of oblonged a little bit, and a lot of times those will hold you up in the air when you put the head back on if you're not careful, and that'll screw you. So at this point, just a head gasket. You probably saw when I was taking the bolts out on the time lapse that this bolt up here, when I pulled it out, it actually had oil and water mixed on the bolt, and that's a telltale sign of that gasket leaking too. You can see the bolt hole is totally full of coolant. This thing already had almost all the water drained out of it, so I know it's not me pulling the head off. On these 318s, there's one thing here I'm looking at too. It looks like somebody's already replaced it possibly. Is this hard coolant pipe that likes to rupture and explode. So we'll definitely take a real good look at that while we got this apart here, while it's easy to get to, and make sure we don't need that. Other than that, we do know we need to get some intake boots. They both got small tears in them. Any kind of tear in that is not gonna work. That'll be lean codes and running rough. You never figure out what in the hell's going on. So that's the story for the E36 today, and I guess at this point we're just waiting on parts. So thanks a lot guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.